Introduction to Architectural Drawing, Wall Section, Video 1. Once you have completed drawing your floor plan, we will move on to drawing a wall section so that the building team knows exactly what is used to construct your design. In our home, we have a 2x6 exterior wall, which we have drawn on the floor plan. Now we will draw the view that we would see if we cut the home in half and looked at the structure. So for example, if we copy our stud exterior wall and place it in our model space, we can project down and we can draw the section view of the home, and we will see that the stud wall will align with the drawing of the wall section. Our facade and our plywood is shown here as well, and our interior sheetrock or gypsum wallboard is also shown in the section. So in this unit we will draw the wall section. To do this, we will begin with our foundation, which is a concrete slab. So we will be using the S section of layers, and we will begin with the concrete, which is our 4-inch concrete slab. So in the field, we have our 4-inch thick concrete slab. But on the outside of the home, the structural engineer will determine the thickness and the depth of the exterior portion of the foundation to support the weight above. So in this example, we have a depth of 1 foot, and we have a thickness of 2 feet. So on the exterior edges of the home, we have a thickened footing 1 foot deep and 2 feet wide. Okay, in our drawing, we have an angle of 60 degrees, and then we will fillet this corner. So for our concrete, we have our 4-inch slab, which is throughout the home. Then we have our turned down footing on the exterior walls. Alright, so moving forward, then we begin drawing our exterior wall. So we will draw the wall with our wood layer. And we know that the height, the thickness of the wall is 2 feet 6 inches, it's a 2x6, so it'll be 5.5 inches thick. So we can begin our wood and offset it 5.5, just like we did in the floor plan. And that's the thickness of the stud wall. Before we begin drawing the height of the stud wall, which you can see on my drawing, you will need to first locate your finished floor line and your finished ceiling line. So the floor line where you stand in the home, and then the ceiling line is where the ceiling would be. So we need to note the height of that. So we need to go in and choose our hidden layer. And we are going to draw a 9-foot ceiling. So 9 feet, we're going to offset 9 feet above. So this is where the stud wall will end. So we can now extend our wood line up to the finished ceiling line. This hidden line will become important in the elevation drawings, which we will do next after we have drawn the wall section. So knowing that our ceiling is 9 feet, we can then erase these lines. And we will go back to the wood layer. And on the bottom of the wall, you have a horizontal board that is the base of the stud wall. So we will draw that board like so. And since we are drawing a section drawing, anything that we physically would cut through needs a hatch pattern, or we also would note it with an X to note that we have cut this board when actually cutting the house down the wall. So there's our X to note that the board is running towards us. And at the top of the wall, we have the same scenario. However, on the top of stud walls, we have a double top plate. So we have 2 horizontal boards that are running. And we will use the wood layer for this. So 2 2x6s running horizontal. Each of these boards are 1.5 inches thick. And then we can copy our X from the bottom. Okay, once we have drawn the stud wall, we can now work on the roof framing. Most homes today are drawn with a truss system as the roof. So in our example, we will draw a standard pitch cord truss, and the structural engineer or the wood truss fabricators will design the thickness of each member of the truss. So for now, we will just draw a standard truss, and we will rely on the professionals to design the trusses accordingly. So in our scenario, we are going to draw a 2x4 framed truss. So all of these members are 2x4. So our first drawing will be the bottom cord. So we will run a bottom cord across, bearing on the top of the stud, and then we will offset 1.5 because this is a 2x4. I'm sorry, not 1.5. We will offset 3.5. There we are. Okay, for this example, we will pick a angle . I chose 22.5 degrees, halfway between 0 and 45. And we will draw that angle starting at the outside edge of the stud. And then we will offset that as well at 3.5. So we have our top chord of the truss and the bottom chord of the truss, which will all be fabricated before delivery to the job site. So these trusses will be delivered on site, completely fabricated and ready to be installed. We will trim the bottom chord. And we will add a generic web member on the drawing, perpendicular to the top chord, so you would angle your lines to be the same 22.5. Again, this is a 2x4, so we will offset 3.5. And this can be placed in any location on the drawing, since the structural engineer or the truss manufacturers will design the exact location of the web. In our next video, we will discuss the overhang portion of the home, the roof overhang, and we will also cover all of the finished materials. We will cover the facade, the plywood, the gypsum wallboard, all of our hatching notes, rebar in the concrete, and our insulation in the attic. So view the next video for more information on drawing a wall section.